So hello and welcome to another Greater Birmingham Chamber of Commerce Q&A. And I'm delighted that today we're joined by the president of the Asian Business Chamber of Commerce, Qasim Majid. Qasim, hi, how are you?
Hi, Paul. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, really good. Thank you.
Great. No, I'm good. Thanks, Kaz. And I mean, we sort of thought we'd have a bit of a quick chat, really, just get your sort of take on life at present. I mean, tell me, first of all, I mean, how's life changed as the president of the ABCC since we've the coronavirus situation has developed and we've all been forced back into our houses?
It's a really good question, actually, Paul. And I think as president, you get the title, you get to do all the glamorous dinners, and people think put you on a pedestal and all that kind of stuff. But actually, I think
you get the medal as well.
You get the medal as well. Of course you do. You get the medal, and I wear it with pride. But I think it really has. The thoughts that are going through my head about leadership and being a position of responsibility more so than ever now. It's times of when you're going through real hardship or things have changed. I think that's when true leadership comes out, and that's where you could probably, and I know you say quite often, is doing the right thing. And I think more so than ever now, I've stepped up my social media game, and you probably will see the stuff that's going out every day. And I think more so than ever now, it's that messaging of that we're together and that we need to keep business moving forward. And I think I'm earning my stripes as a president, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no. Well, look, you're doing a great job. And I mean, what are some of the real challenges that you're hearing from members, when they're talking to you? And I know there's a whole host of issues out there that are impacting business, and we're all working hard to try to navigate through them. But are there particular things that spring to mind from the members of the ABCC?
I mean, there are, and I think it's no different to some of the things that are happening across the board, across the chamber. But specifically, it's around, particularly like last week, it was all about, what support is available, what's coming through in terms of government grants. And I think more so than ever now, people need to be communicating with one another. And I think that communication piece is hugely important. And I think the messaging that I'm getting from a lot of the members is that, yes, the Chamber is doing a fantastic job in terms of disseminating that information, but also how can we look at some of the nuances. And I know today we've released the kind of Mind the Gaps, which I know have been our Chamber president kind of get-togethers, is those smaller businesses, those people on the high street, those people in on Stratford Road in Alum Rock that are struggling, is how do we look after those businesses when we come out of this and during this as well? And it's, is the government looking after the nuances and the people that are falling through the gaps? And it's stuff around, directors and dividends, small, you pay yourself a small salary, and you obviously you work on turnover and profit, and so that they're the kind of things that we're really getting getting in terms of the information that's coming through.
And that's where I think conversations we've had before, the communication with businesses across the board is so important, isn't it? Because that intelligence and the issues that they're facing, that they feed back to other members, to your exec committee, to yourself as president. Sort of it builds our picture of what's working, what isn't, and then something like the Mind the Gap report, is a way of sort of saying, look, more needs to be done. We all recognise that the levels of support are unprecedented to deal with this, unprecedented situation. But if the chamber is here, isn't it, to be that independent voice for the business community. And so, what we will do is amplify the issues that people are feeling, and those people who aren't being supported by the measures to date, and to make sure that nobody is left behind in this, because we don't want anyone to suffer unnecessarily. And we want, the world will spin back onto its axis and the economy will bounce back. And we want our businesses to be as strong as ever, isn't it? So that engagement that you're leading with the ABCC exec committee, you know, amongst members and the broader business community is so important. And I think, you know, it feels like, you know, being there on the ground, as you say, you know, reaching people who maybe feel that no one else is listening is just key right now, isn't it?
100%, Paul. You know, I can't stress how important it is, but also you know, this has hit everyone. You know, it's hit everyone, every organisation. And one of the things I've been saying right from the beginning, you know, you look in front of you, you look behind you, you look to the left, so you look to the right. Everyone is in the same boat, and I think, you know, the speed in which you know, things are coming through in this time is really good, and it's important for people to stay patient because it will reach you. You know, the chamber, the ABCC, the Greater Birmingham Chamber of Commerce are listening, and we're putting those concerns back up to the people that matter. And I think collectively, as a board, as a chamber, you know, we've come together and really tackling these issues. My message to a lot of the businesses out there is, you know, this is happening at such speed that, you know, getting it to the front line is going to take a little bit of time, not so much in your timescales, but it will happen. We just got to stay patient and stay in the game.
Yeah, and those who are distributing the money, you know, and this is where we're trying to make sure that the appropriate amount of pressure is put on, need to be, you know, straining every sinew to get the cash through the system quickly, because, you know, the speed element does matter. Now, I mean, I know some of the stats are hard to get complete accuracy on now, but it does seem like the BAME community is sort of sadly, you know, being hit disproportionately hard by COVID-19, and as you know, it's affecting everybody. But when we're seeing some of the reports coming out, that does seem to be the case. Have you had or picked up concerns or specific concerns, you know, on that from your members?
It is a concern, and as you know, it's happened to people that are very close to us, and we've lost some people. And you know, our condolences and our thoughts and prayers go out to the families that have suffered, and there's been some really prominent business people within the community. The messaging that we're getting and the feedback that we're finding is that yes, you know, it might be that it is disproportionate, and it is happening. And I think you know, what we've got to do is just follow good government guidelines. You know, stay in your home, stay safe, and you know, don't put too much pressure on the NHS. And I don't know what the medical reasons are why this is happening. But there is a concern within the community, and I think when this is over, there'll be some digging and some understanding of why this has happened.
And I suppose it as you say, you know, and you know, people who are, you know, very closely involved to the chamber and dear to us have been, you know, impacted in the worst possible way by this, and it reinforces, doesn't it, the importance of adhering to the guidelines, because while we're all sort of desperate to get through lockdown and get everything moving again, we've also got to treat the disease with the respect that it deserves, I suppose, because it is a killer. And it's finding that balance is going to be so crucial, isn't it, as we start to emerge from lockdown, and making sure that there isn't a second wave of this down the line. And again, it's just finding the right ways, I suppose, and ensuring that the businesses are ready to be nimble and flexible, I suppose, Kaz, isn't it? And really, you know, poised that they may have to, you know, change from what they have been doing in the past, and some have been very successful. But as we move forward, it's about flexibility, I would say.
Yeah, and you know, that word pops in the mind is agility. You know, you know, your business has to have agility, and I think, you know, there's many businesses from the Asian background that, you know, that have been innovative, they've moved, they've pivoted, and particularly from the hospitality and leisure industry. You know, you've got the Curry Mile here. Lots of those businesses have now closed, but they've pivoted quite quickly into providing online services. And there's many of, and particularly some in our business and contacts of mine that we work with very, very closely, that have moved very, very quickly into, that were traditionally restaurants, into the online space, and delivering, really good home cooked food to your homes. And so I think, small businesses are very agile. They pivot quite quickly, and we're in the hotbed of startup, region, aren't we,
Yeah.
in the UK, outside of London. So, we're in a region that fosters innovation, and I think now is the time to innovate and have that agility to move quite quickly.
And I suppose there's also then the onus on the rest of our community to support businesses when they do pivot. You mentioned sort of restaurants, and if they're offering takeout, then that's something that then use it, isn't it, and support them. And that's where the chamber community is great at supporting each other. And I suppose if people aren't involved right now, then get involved, get engaged, because we are here to help and support each other, aren't we?
And you're absolutely spot on, Paul. I was just reading some statistics earlier. That 70% of people now, 70% of people are ordering more stuff online and new stuff. But to us, it's probably normal stuff. I mean, for the first time today, we had a Tesco delivery online. Normally, I go to the supermarket, and I'm in the digital space, is my business, but we've had a Tesco delivery now, and I think our buying habits are going to change. So as we come out of this, and I think businesses really need to just jump onto that and kind of really, really latch onto that thing. Actually, the buying habits that will change for the not for the good, but for the future. So I do think, when we come out of this, that online is going to play a big, big part in how people behave and what they do, because it's so convenient, so convenient. And
Absolutely.
And I think putting that message across, and getting people to support local businesses is hugely important. I think the Chamber is a great vehicle to be talking about that and sending the message out to the wider communities to support local businesses.
Yeah. Now, as we're sat here today, we're just on the cusp of Ramadan starting.
Yeah.
And, I mean, give us sort of an insight as to how the situation that we're in with lockdowns gonna impact those who are marking Ramadan.
Well, typically what will happen in Ramadan. Ramadan's the most holy month in the Muslim calendar. It was when the Quran was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and it's a time to reset. It's a time to reflect. It's a time to do what's right for you, and it's a time to do what's right for your community. And as you know, between the hours of sunrise and sunset, we abstain from water and food and reflect upon ourselves. And also, it's a time for charity. It's a time for doing the right thing for people that are less fortunate than us. And the purpose of fasting is about empathy. It's about putting yourselves in other people's shoes that are less fortunate than you. And at the end of the fast, people congregate in the mosque and they pray, and they do that for 30 days. And then after 30 days, you've got the big celebration of Eid. Well, that's not going to happen now. But Islam is a very, very practical religion, and if it's right for the wider community to stay at home, that's what we should be doing, and that's the message that we really need to put out there. Is you can pray at home, you can have the congregations, and I know there's going to be many of them doing virtual congregations now. Observe what's happening, listen to the government guidelines and stay safe, because that's actually what's right for the community. But there'll be also many millions of pounds that are going to be donated this month to people that are less fortunate than us. And the wider backdrop of Ramadan is actually doing what's right for your neighbour and doing what's right for your community. So I think now more so than ever, that message out there.
Some very timely sort of elements that you've drawn out there, which really resonate, don't they, with the current situation. Kaz, look, Yeah.
So I was just going to say, and we had Vaisakhi last week, and it was Vaisakhi
Yes.
all about humanity, bringing people together and doing the right thing for the community. So this period is really about reflecting upon oneself and one's actions and doing what's right for the greater good.
Yeah. And then again, and that fits, doesn't it, neatly with the chamber ethos. And it is about support and community and, you know, being generous. So we've talked before about those individuals and those businesses who give most generously in lots of different ways of their time, of their sort of insights, sort of share. They're the ones who always get the most out. And I suppose it's a case of the people who are watching, you know, to engage and engage with the community, engage with the chamber, engage with each other.
Well, yeah, and as you said, Paul, you know, a few weeks ago, it's about doing the right thing. I think that's important right now, is to do the right thing.
Yeah. Kaz, thank you very much for joining us. Any final thoughts to leave us with?
Well, I just want to say, you know, people observing Ramadan Mubarak, please, you know, jump onto the chamber website, get the newsletter. You know, remember, it's all about connect, support, and grow, and let's keep business moving.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.